Hey, what's up guys? So it's been about 3 weeks since I got my ultra-wide monitor, and I have another video where I did, an unboxing and first impressions of it, and kind of went through just initially how I felt about it. And in that video I said that I was going to be making a full review in a couple of days, maybe a week, but I really wanted to take a little bit longer to get used to the monitor and use it a lot more extensively before I started to, do any kind of a full review on it. So I've had it about 3 weeks, and there's a lot that I'm really do like about the monitor. As I said in the other video, the unboxing video, the main reason I got this monitor is because I predominantly use it for music production and audio engineering. So the more screen real estate you can have, the better. For mixing and music production, any of that kind of stuff, having more information that you can see on the timeline means there's less scrolling that I have to do. And if I need to zoom in and get really precise for an edit, there's plenty of room on the screen for me to do that and still see other information that's on the screen at the same time. So when I decided that I was going to start looking for a new ultra-wide monitor, the main three things that I wanted to keep in mind were: one, the image quality and any kind of features that the monitor has. Two is the connectivity. So does it have how many HDMI ports, does it have a USB type C, USB type A, and how many of those? And the three is price. So those were the main three things that I tried to keep in mind when deciding on a monitor. So in terms of the features that the monitor has, like I said, it already has the on-screen control from LG, so that's been really easy for me. If I'm doing any multitasking, I can just literally just click and drag whatever applications I want to go to whatever portion of the screen, and that's super easy. You don't have to manually resize anything, so that's been a great feature. In terms of the connectivity, there's a good amount of USB type A ports. There's no USB type C, but that's not a big issue for me because I do have the CalDigit TS3 Plus, and that's connected with Thunderbolt 3 straight to my MacBook Pro. So I really didn't have an issue with anything like that. So the extra USB ports were just a bonus for me. Now, I was pretty set that I wanted to stick with LG and their ultra-wide monitor series just because I've been so used to it. I had the 25-inch model before this one, a model from, I believe, around 2016, but I really like their on-screen control software, and that's great for me because I've been using the monitor for a little bit of streaming and also screen recording with OBS. And with this ultra-wide monitor, it's really easy. I made another video that kind of explains how to use OBS with the ultra-wide monitor, but for me it's great because you have a 16:9 traditional size window that on-screen control literally lets you essentially drag and drop whatever application you want to take up that space, that portion of the screen, and then they give you another portion which is, I guess, around a 5:9 little side window, if you will, that is really good for me because I use that for OBS, so I can kind of see what my stream is looking like and make any adjustments without having to have a separate dedicated monitor just for OBS. So that's been a plus for this monitor. Now, in terms of mixing, I have been doing some bigger sessions with a high track count, so it's been great to not have to scroll as much when I'm in the mix window. I can literally see pretty much the vast majority of my tracks, especially since I tend to use folders and group everything down like that to save a little bit of space on the screen. But yeah, with this monitor, it's definitely been a real breeze for me in terms of not feeling like I'm running out of space on the screen for everything that I'm doing. I also will do a lot of multitasking, so I never really have to worry about having a second monitor. I kind of explained this in the unboxing video, but I've never really liked the whole dual monitor setup too much. I really feel like it kind of makes the experience not as immersive as I would like for certain things. So just having a single panel that has the extra screen real estate has been something that's really been good for me. So I think you guys, if you're anything like me and you're considering buying it for music production, mixing, mastering, any of that kind of thing, I really feel like it's going to be a benefit to you guys. Now, this monitor is also really good if you're in the market for, you know, a monitor to help with video editing. I've been doing all my video editing on this monitor, and in Final Cut Pro 10, which is what I use to edit everything, in the timeline I can see a lot more. I don't have to scroll as much, you know, so it kind of goes hand in hand. Any kind of software that you use that's, you know, linear and will have any kind of a timeline that you have to follow, having, you know, the larger screen just, you know, stretched out and everything like that, it's really just going to help you. You know, if I use a dual monitor setup, it wouldn't really benefit me as much because both monitors would be, you know, a 16:9 aspect ratio. And that's the main reason I really wanted a ultra-wide monitor setup instead of a dual monitor setup. Now, I mentioned this in my unboxing video. I actually had a similar model to this one, same size and everything, except it was a curved monitor. And I thought I would like that at first. You know, I'd never really used a curved monitor. I've never really seen one in person, besides, you know, the curved televisions that you'll see at Best Buy or something like that. But as soon as I got the curved monitor in and opened up Ableton, it looks so weird to me. Like the grid just, it really was disorienting for seeing all the lines that, you know, they should be straight, but, and I know the monitor, you know, it is making it straight, but just the way your brain is looking at it and perceiving the image, everything looks curved, you know. So maybe if you're doing gaming on a curved monitor or anything that doesn't have a grid with, you know, definitive lines, then it might be a little easier to just hop right in. But if you're doing anything that has, you know, lines on it, it's definitely going to take you a little bit of getting used to with the curved one. So I sent that one back, and I got this one that has the flat panel, and this is a lot better for me, and it has everything that I wanted in terms of having the extra screen real estate, but it doesn't have a compromise of, you know, my brain having to get used to seeing lines on a curved monitor. Now, in terms of gaming, it's been really great for me on this monitor. The main game that I'll pretty much use is Rocket League on my PS4 Pro. If anyone knows me, Rocket League is probably my favorite game right now, mainly because it's so fast to hop on. You know, I can, if I'm between sessions and I have a couple minutes of downtime, it's so easy to be able, you know, to fire up and play a couple 5-minute matches or, you know, anything like that. But yeah, it's kind of half and half that I've been using either this monitor for Rocket League or using my 55-inch if I want just a little bit bigger display and want to, you know, sit up in the bed and play or anything. But yeah, the motion, I haven't seen any weird dropouts or, you know, trailing or anything like that. Everything's been super fast for, you know, what I can perceive. So now I'm going to show you guys a little bit of gaming on this monitor. I'll also open up Final Cut Pro 10, Ableton, and Pro Tools in case you guys use any of those applications. You want to see, you know, the kind of screen real estate that you can expect if you get an ultra-wide monitor or this monitor specifically. I'll also be doing a speaker test to give you guys a sense of what the built-in monitor speakers sound like. I'm probably not going to end up using them that much because I already have studio monitors here, Yamaha HS8s, and, you know, I'd much rather listen to it on that. But for anyone who doesn't want to get studio monitors or, you know, is not using headphones or anything like that, I will at least show you guys what you can get with out of the box with the built-in LG speakers on the unit. So without further ado, I think it's time for some Rocket League. Let's get it. So I switched over to my iPhone for this portion of the video because I actually use Pro Tools to record the audio for my videos, but the sample rate of this session and the other session I open up in Ableton actually 44.1, but I record at 48 if I'm doing a video. So just to make everything easier, I'm just going to use the iPhone. But yeah, as you guys can see, this is what you can expect when you have the ultra-wide monitor. You can see pretty much the whole thing. As you can see, right there, this is the end of the track. I can go ahead and zoom in a little bit for you guys, and you can see how, for all these edits, you can say I wanted to mess with the fade a little bit. You can zoom in and see so much information, and you can be really precise with all the editing. Now if I switch over to the mix window, you can pretty much see everything that I have going on here, with maybe excluding the click track, but I can hide that anyway. Yeah, you can see that if I have pretty much most of the stuff condensed, you can see everything. I think this is around probably 35 to 40 tracks, and I'm not looking at a narrow mix or anything like that. If I do go ahead and look at the narrow mix, you can see how much more space you have. You have this whole side over here that's not even in use by anything. So really big sessions, anything like that, ultra wide is really going to help you guys. It's so much that you can see on the screen. I don't really know how else to describe it, but it is a mixing engineer's dream to have this much screen real estate. So really dig it. Alright, so I have Ableton open now, and pretty much like you saw in Pro Tools, you can see a lot of information. I have a lot of MIDI and a lot of audio files in here, but I can pretty much see the vast majority of the session. I can zoom out, and yeah, this is the whole track here that I can see and jump around as I would need to. I don't really use this view much at all in Ableton, pretty much in the arrangement view, since I come from Logic Pro 10 and that linear way of production. So yeah, I can see everything that I want to see, guys. I don't really know how else to explain it. But yeah, if you're trying to do any music production, anything like that, you can really have a good time with this monitor. And this is what I was talking about, like you can see all the grids in Ableton. On the curved monitor, everything was so disorienting, and as you can imagine, even just any person who's not used to seeing grids, seeing all these lines can look kind of crazy to you, but especially if it's on an ultra wide monitor with that curve, just it wasn't a fun experience. But this is a lot better. So if you're on the fence and thinking that a curved monitor might be disorienting if you're doing music production, it really might be, because it was for me. So I really recommend a flat panel like this, still ultra wide, but a flat panel if you're going to be doing anything that has a really distinct grid, and that's the main thing that you would use when you're doing work. So but if you're doing gaming, by all means, sure, go ahead and get the curved monitor. But just for me and the way that I like to perceive images on a screen, I really didn't like the curve, but the flat panel is definitely a win for me. So I have Final Cut Pro 10 open, and as you would expect, you can see really my entire video here. It's about 13 minutes, a little over 13 minutes, but yeah, you can see everything that you would expect to see, pretty much the whole video and everything like that. The colors look sharp and really accurate. Yeah, I really like it. I've had no issues whatsoever doing any kind of video editing on this thing. So yeah, for anyone who uses Final Cut Pro 10, this is what you can expect for what you would see on the screen. So yeah, guys, that pretty much does it for the review for the LG UltraWide monitor that I got. It's been great for me. I've been using it for 3 weeks. I've had no issues whatsoever with the monitor, whether that be for work or play. If I'm mixing in Pro Tools or producing in Ableton or editing in Final Cut Pro 10, there's been plenty of screen real estate for me. I definitely don't feel like I miss a second monitor, or I wish I would use a second monitor or anything like that. And in terms of gaming, you know, with the PS4 Pro, it's been really great, especially if I want to have, you know, a little bit better audio quality, just using my you know, my Yamaha HS8s and my Apollo Twin. You know, it's been really good. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching the video. Hopefully it was helpful. I know it's, you know, can be confusing when you're trying to purchase a new monitor or anything like that, and you know, especially right now, you can't really go into the store and play around with any of them. So like I said, I really enjoyed it. So if you were thinking about getting this monitor, I really think you'll be pleased with it. So I think that's all for now, guys. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.